All right. Hi, everyone. Here is my bracket. I'm not going to make you wait until the end of the video to see my bracket. Here it is. I have Florida winning. I think Arizona is number two and going to be pretty close. As you can see, I have some pretty big surprises in here. Creighton going far. My big front runners are definitely Arizona, Michigan State, Florida. I think Tennessee is more of a wild card, honestly. They have played very well. I'm going to go down to the West and the Midwest now, just so everyone can see. This is what I got. We've got some pretty big question marks in here, but I'm going to kind of go over some of my thought process and what's going on. All right, everyone has a look at it now. I think it looks pretty good. I'm actually very happy. I'm less happy with the Midwest and the West, but the East and the South, I think these are pretty solid choices. I'm actually very happy with the way they turned out. I think Duke is an easy front runner, but I think once they get up to facing Arizona, they're going to face some issues with experience. Their best player is a freshman, and I think that experience is going to show. Going down to the next, I think the Baylor Mississippi State. I think this game's going to be close. It's kind of a toss up. Liberty, kind of a wild card. I think they're going to be fired up. Liberty Sports has done very well recently, and I think they're going to turn it up and they're going to show up and beat Oregon. I don't think they have the ability to beat Arizona, but I think they're going to have a good showing in the first round. Okay, continuing on, BYU, VCU. I mean, let's just look. Let's just look at this. VCU comes to play. They come to play in the tournament. And I think they're doing great. I think this is going to be another close game, but I think VCU is going to pull it out. And then I think Wisconsin actually isn't going to show up. I think Wisconsin is going to do what they usually do. They are going to wet the bed, and it's going to be embarrassing. But then VCU will probably get taken down by St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's is in very good shape. So going on to St. Mary's, I think St. Mary's is going to be on fire. I think they're going to keep that fire burning in this tournament. I think this is an easy victory over Vanderbilt. Alabama is going to struggle, as they did, as you can see in their recent games. Losing to Florida multiple times, losing to Tennessee. They've got some Missouri and Auburn losses. I think they're going to continue that streak. While they will beat Robert Morris, which is kind of a no-name team, they are going to struggle against St. Mary's, and St. Mary's is going to pull it out. Going down here, Houston. Houston is on fire. But let's go ahead and look at this Gonzaga game. Everyone likes Gonzaga. I am seeing Gonzaga all over the news. This was actually a very, very tough choice for me. I'm seeing all these statistics about the longest streaks in the tournament, and Gonzaga is right there. And this is kind of the reason I put them going pretty far in this tournament. Is this a mistake? Probably. I probably should not have chosen Gonzaga to go this far, but we are going to play, and they are going to play. I think the only thing that would be switched out in this is Houston beating Gonzaga, but we'll just have to wait and see. I am choosing Clemson to beat McNeese. I think the ACC is a very weak conference right now. UNC is getting a little bit of love right now, but we'll get on to that in a minute. I think the ACC has not performed well this season. I think they are not very good. Clemson did lose to Louisville, but then if you look at their victories, it's like, okay, who did you beat? Who did you beat except for this big Duke win? And I really think they're going to struggle. I think High Point is kind of a no-name team that's just going to come in. Let's see. High scoring. High Point. This is kind of just a faith pick, but I think they are going to beat Purdue. They're going to beat Clemson as well. And both of these games are going to be high-scoring games, but I still expect High Point to win by 7 or more points against both of these teams until Gonzaga or Houston is finally going to slow them down. Moving on down to here. Illinois, I honestly have no faith in the Fighting Illini this season. I'm not sure why. It's kind of just an opinion, and I think Xavier is going to turn it up. I think they're going to beat Texas tonight, and they're going to have a fire lit underneath them, and they're going to come in and they are going to beat the Fighting Illini. Looking at Kentucky, Kentucky is a very good team. I do want to point out that there are lots and lots of SEC teams in the tournament this year. And this is likely due to the fact that the ACC is terrible this year, except for Duke. And I think so. Kentucky here. Originally, when I was first making the bracket, I did have Xavier beating Kentucky, but realistically, I think the tournament wants to see a big SEC matchup, and I think this Kentucky Tennessee is going to be a big head-to-head battle in the SEC. But I do think Tennessee is going to take that one. UCLA and Utah State. I honestly don't have much faith in either of these teams. I think this is also a toss-up. Wofford, I have no faith in them. Their women's team looks a lot better than their men's team. So I think Tennessee, I think these are pretty easy picks. But I could be wrong. Illinois could show up. Illinois could show up, and Illinois could be down here. And Illinois could be going to face Gonzaga or Houston. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. This is just kind of what I think. All right, going to the West. St. John's. St. John's is looking excellent. Excellent. I have them going pretty far. I think some of these SEC teams are definitely going to struggle in the tournament, which you'd have to say because there's so many of them. So I think Omaha is going to be a smackdown. Arkansas and Kansas. I saw Kansas is also on one of the longest running streaks, but I don't think they're there. I think they might have gotten this higher seed maybe because they have been there. They're on such a streak. But I think with all these losses in recent times, I think it's going to be rough. But this is definitely going to be a close game. This game is not going to be close. St. John's is definitely going to pull it out. All right, looking at Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington. UNC Wilmington is not as good as it has been in the past. There is not going to be any glory or run this season. I think Texas Tech is going to take the victory. Even though I don't think Texas Tech is as great as they should be, I don't really think they deserve a number 3 seed, especially with losses to Arizona and Houston. I really think Arizona is the headliner, and that's also why I have them losing to Drake. And I also think this is a big wild card. Drake beating St. John's. We always have that team that's making a run, and I really think Drake can pull it off. This is kind of just speculation. I know they've done good in the past, and I think they're going to be ready to play. I think all these teams are going to underestimate them. Missouri, Texas Tech, and definitely St. John's is still going to underestimate them when they get there. Reason being, I think St. John's is going to have easy victories over Omaha and Arkansas, so they're not going to be ready for Drake because they're going to be like, oh, we thought these games were going to be harder, and when they get to fight Drake, Drake's going to be like, hey, we came to play. We're not Omaha. We're here. All right, let's keep going. Maryland, Grand Canyon. This is another one. I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think Maryland is going to win. This whole part of the bracket is kind of I was scratching my head on. So this is my least confidence except for Florida. Florida's definitely going to beat Norfolk State. They're definitely going to beat Oklahoma or UConn, whichever team goes on. And then when we get here, both of these teams could beat Florida. Maryland or Memphis. Probably, honestly, have a little bit more confidence in Memphis beating them. But literally, that is just speculation and the way what I've seen on how they're playing. Looking at the streak that they're on. But I don't think they're that good of a team. Even when you look at some of these scores, these are close games. And even some of these are pretty close games as well. But they're a little bit more. This is why I have Maryland beating Memphis. But I don't think they can beat Florida. I know lots and lots of people are picking Florida to win, but let's be serious. Florida is on fire. You'd honestly have to be crazy if you were betting on this and not choosing Florida to win. You're seeing something that I'm not. All right, let's head up to the South. Another team that is on fire and another team that is getting a lot of love right now for the huge streak that they are on is Michigan State. And I am all for it. This Michigan State team, this Big Ten team, is going to, well, I guess they're not going to destroy the SEC because they're not even going to be playing any of them. But they are here to play. Michigan State is going to have easy victories until Iowa State. Iowa State is a good team, but they are going to struggle, especially saying, look at this, 2 recent losses against BYU. Like, it's not going to cut it against Michigan State. Michigan State is going to come in and they are going to, I honestly think Michigan State could win every single one of these games by 10 or more points. Marquette and New Mexico, this is a toss up. I think Marquette does have the ability to go on a run, but again, some of these losses just make me very not confident in them. Especially saying that the loss margin it went from 2 to 16. And you lose faith, you lose confidence, and it can be rough. Lipscomb, Iowa State should be an easy win. Okay, now looking at Ole Miss versus the play-in game, SDSU, San Diego State against UNC. Now, I think San Diego State is going to beat UNC. UNC, watching the betting, is getting a bigger and bigger, like people are choosing UNC to win, and I think they're wrong. I think San Diego State is going to beat UNC. They are going to be fired up, and they are going to beat Ole Miss. And I think they could honestly beat Iowa State as well. But again, this isn't finalized, so we will have to wait and see. All right, finishing up here, let's see. We've got Texas A&M Yale. I have no confidence in the Ivy League, so that's an easy pick for me. Michigan, UC San Diego. This is another kind of just quick wild card. I'm not sure who's going to win this, but I think Texas A&M would beat either of these teams. That's kind of why I chose them. Looking at maybe an X Factor team, it's probably going to be Creighton. A lot of people have lost faith in Auburn, and I am one of those people. I think they will win their first round matchup against Alabama State or SFU, but I don't think they're going to go that far. I actually think Creighton might win by a pretty large margin, probably more than 5 to 10 points against Creighton. And I think Louisville, again, like, I just have no faith in the ACC this season. Just no faith. So Creighton probably is my biggest wild card, other than I do have VCU and St. Mary's, but I honestly feel pretty confident about the South and East. This is where it just seems too easy to me. But we will see what happens, and hopefully we have some interesting, fun games, because that's what we really want. A good final. We want good rounds, and I am so excited. Games start tonight. Hope to see you all watching, and we will take it from there. I'm out for now.